We'll call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Turn this off again. Get mine. Any additions or changes to tonight's agenda?
On here, I moved to approve.
During the council, or the,
Okay.
visit, the reports from the, I've got an item to put on there. It'll be,
Under the minutes?
Naming the North Park.
Okay.
I'll just do it during the council reports, if that's all right?
Yep.
All right. So, John, did you make the motion?
Yes, I did.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda.
All right, attached are the minutes from our last meeting, February 14th, and then you also have the payables and the expenditures. I was just going to point out on the second page of our expenditures tonight, there is a debt service payment for a recent street project. Other than that, everything is pretty straightforward and pretty routine. Do you have anything else, Andrea?
I'm assuming that 46,000's for service truck, the utilities.
Is it under?
Utility capital reserve.
Oh, expenditure summary for year-to-date. Well, it would have been, not this time, but
Gotcha.
it's been this year, yep.
That goes before the utility board.
I'd move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public forum, is there anybody here to speak to public forum? Ron?
Ron Brigger, 115 West North Street. Just recently, I was reading the minutes of the city council, the meeting, or the minutes from the meetings, and in one meeting it stated in there that they were talking about $52,000 for the walkway or the safe access for the school kids, and it was going to cost to move it $52,000 more. And at that time, it was reported that the council didn't have the money budgeted for it, plus they didn't want the taxpayers paying for it. Well, in going back and reviewing things, 1999, the city of Janesville decided to change the management at the golf course. For the next 21-plus years, the taxpayers were paying to keep that golf course going, to the tune of about $2.2 million. And out of that $2.2 million, approximately $1.4 to $1.5 million was paid for wages for one person, wages and compensations, for basically like it was a part-time job. Well, we have a police, our chief of police gets paid less per year than he does for a full-time job. And he's basically putting his life on the line every time he goes out on a call. And so I kind of question why we didn't have, to the comment made about not in the budget, because just as recently as the year 2019, the golf course was tax levy of $30,000. And at the end of the year, they were $70,000 short. At the very next council meeting, the council found that $70,000. It's kind of like, what is wrong with this picture? When are we going to start working for the taxpayers instead of just one business? I mean, I find it rather strange that we've got such a priority on that golf course. I did some studies and did some phone calls and stuff, and I called over 30 golf courses, 37 to be exact, and asked them about these last couple of years. I says, what do you attribute your rise in your expenditure, did you see an increase in your receipt? And they says, 37, says, yes, they did. And I says, okay, and what do you attribute this to? And 36 of them replied, COVID. And recently, I checked too, and the golf course in the years 2020 and 2021, but I can't quote a figure because 2021 hasn't been audited yet, shows an increase in the balance of about $100,000. And out of that 100,000, 50,000 came from tax levies, 30,000 in 2020 and 20,000 in 2021. Now, this 100,000, if they're making 100,000, I think it's time that that money goes back either into the city or back to the taxpayers, because they're the ones that kept the golf course going. So I thank you for your time.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
Brianne Eldred, 515 Allen Circle. So I thank you again for letting me speak from Allen Circle. I wanted to speak on the topic of the safe routes path again. I have some questions and would just like some understanding. As a teacher, one of the life skills that we teach is about respecting the people around you. Last meeting, I watched two citizens speak on behalf of the town, and one person was writing and shuffling papers, looking at his computer the whole time. As adults, we should respect different views, no matter the stance, no matter where we're at in life. I respect and appreciate the decisions you have made for the safety of our town, but I cannot stand behind this path in our backyard, literally right in our backyard, right by our windows. Okay. This puts us in a vulnerable spot and affects the safety of our children in our own backyard. We want to make a safe path for some kids, but not safety for all, especially the ones that are directly affected. How does this satisfy your job requirements and your values? Just checking the box because you did some work? Check. Just because you did the work and don't want to rehash things for the better for the entire community doesn't make it right. If the neighbors would have been notified, maybe we would have not been in the spot today where we're trying to rehash some things, trying to hustle to make it work or push the odd puzzle piece in the circle. As a city manager and council, it's your job to make sure the town continues to be effective, efficient, and safe for the people, all the people. The decision may or may not be popular, but people must feel safe. I spoke 3 times as of today, and I've only heard 2 council members reach out to me about the safety of the families, and that should be priority number 1. As a neighborhood, we do not feel heard, respected, and then again, it directly affects us. Questions I have. So, why did these neighborhoods need to connect? Like the one in the Highlands to the, I think it's Allen Street. Why does that need to be right in our backyard? What's the reasoning behind crossing one of the busiest roads just to find a way across? Why can't we go by Teal Street somewhere? That seems like a much safer route for kids. It's not as busy there, and it's not as fast. Why, if you didn't create a path that connects the neighborhoods, where could you use that money to create better crossing areas for the towns to make it safe? Could we help some of the streets in the town? Some of them are pretty rough. I've walked my dog. I have like a nice 4-mile path around town. Some of them are pretty rough. And my dog can handle it, but somebody who's pushing a baby in a stroller, that's pretty tough. Could we create sidewalks as a better place for kids to walk? I want to look 10 years down the line and think, I fought for something that benefited everybody in the long run, not just that satisfied something right now. So I really appreciate your time letting me speak, and I know on behalf of Allen Circle, we want to continue to keep that communication open, and we would love to be part of that conversation still. And I know it's been tough, and we knew about it late. So we just want to make sure that we feel safe in our own backyards as well as everybody else. Thank you.
Is there a reason, Mayor and Clinton, why this wasn't added back on the agenda to maybe discuss delaying it, or was that not something we thought to do when creating the agenda? We've had several complaints, several emails. I spoke, and it didn't dawn on either one of you guys to add it to the agenda to maybe see if we could push it back again to discuss other things, or do I really need to ask for an agenda item to be added to discuss this again?
Well, by the time you spoke last week and they spoke,
It wasn't last week, it was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, we had already submitted the plans to the state.
Why, just because you submitted the plans for the state, we have not broke ground. We can still actually do something. This whole, like, it's a done deal, settled, it's null and void.
Jason, do you have any input on timeline as far as trying to change that, or it's?
I'm listening to you guys on how you guys want to handle this.
I don't-
We put in the project memorandum and we're on pace to do the project, if that's the wishes of the council.
Yeah, we're not gonna put it on Jason, though, to make a decision on this.
I'm just trying to find out what the timeline is. Public
The
forum
timeline is
public
determined by
forum
us.
is not the time to be speaking about this. If
It
you'd
should
like
have been
to-
on the agenda, which is why I'm speaking about it right now.
I'd like to ask something.
If you want me to go
Last May
stand
when
up
this-
there, I can go up there and ask the same question.
Last May, when this came in front of the, council, and I brought up an objection that I thought it was bogus, I thought it was bad, I thought it was ill-conceived, you told me it was done 3 years ago, and we couldn't do anything.
No, I never said we
Yes.
couldn't,
The
no,
whole
I never
council did.
said we couldn't do anything. Those
No,
words
that's
have
what I was
never
told.
come- Why would I say that? Where did I get my engineer degree?
All right, I think we're gonna end this discussion at this point.
Don't put words in my
We can
mouth.
put it on the agenda again if it needs further
Yeah, you
discussion.
gotta-
We can
At this
or will.
point, we're gonna move on. Public forum, anyone else?
Dylan Westfall, 519 Allen Circle. My topic is the path again, the safe route path. Clinton, if you will, do you have the map that you can bring up real quick of the path? On the TV screen, please?
Oh, boy,
Brianne Eldridge.
If you can
Brianne
find
or
it.
Brianne?
well,
I'm sure.
if I have a good internet connection.
Okay, thanks.
I was, thinking the other night of another solution that could be possible for this path, if it doesn't go in the backyard.
I can't get, there we
So
go.
I was thinking, maybe there's a possibility to move the ditch and create a wide enough path on the left-hand side, the east hand, that the path could go on that side, east side of the ditch instead. But if we move that ditch into that city property a little bit, down by, is it North East Street, right? I was just kind of thinking that the other night, if we were able to move that ditch, and I hope we can find it, so I
I know, I'm
give you
sorry, Dylan,
a
I'm,
visual cue.
I'm trying to remember what,
I feel that
Email from
maybe the
Fem
city
right
workers
now.
could dig that, it won't cost anything, they're just doing their regular jobs. The path would just come down a little bit farther, but then it would just have a little bit of a curve and then go on the east side of the ditch.
I can't
don't know-
speak
I
to
don't-
that, I
yeah,
don't know
yeah, yeah.
anything about digging ditches.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, we could use city workers to pay for it, it won't cost anything extra. And I don't know,
I'm thinking I'm getting there.
You're getting close.
That one, Dylan? Should I
no,
turn
need
it?
the ditch.
Huh?
Is that it right there?
Yep,
Okay.
that's,
That's
So-
County Road up top, that's
So
north.
here's that
Yep.
tree line that goes to east of Legion Lake Road, back up, and there's the crossing right there. So if we went from this tree line right here, and kind of just went like this, and made that the new ditch, we could fill this in and just make the path down here, and then cross over here, and then come on this side. If that's a possibility, instead of coming in our backyards right here. This is all city property right here. I feel that if we went from this tree line, just kind of went to the ditch mark right here, we could use this property piece right here, have it on this side, and then come over, and then go this way, and meet up over on this side. Possibly. If it's possible, we could use the city workers to do it, it won't cost you anything, just the regular day labor that they're here for. And that's really my only suggestion that I have, is the last one I could think of, and hopefully it's a possibility.
John, what would a ditch like that cost?
To dig it?
Yeah,
The digging would be,
This
City
is
doesn't have the
just
equipment,
backfill
so-
this creek in from here to here, wherever you started at. So just backfill in this part, and then you just restream itself this way.
the digging part and filling wouldn't be too bad, but then,
Is there a
but then you
culvert?
have two crossings then. You'll have to cross this ditch to get away from your property.
Yeah, well, you still have to cross the ditch on
You
this
stay on the east side the whole
You still have
way.
to cross it no matter what, on this side.
once you get there.
Oh, Phil, and you come here and this, yeah, because you still have to leave an outlet for this.
That's kinda what I was.
Yep, so you're saying that you're, yeah, you're right.
Yep,
I was thinking that,
I
yes,
still only
he's
have
right.
one cross.
Yep, you just have one cross.
Yep. Just backfill on the other side.
Yep, no, that's my fault, I was thinking of that other ditch.
So I don't know if that's a possibility, but I feel like it's very feasible and doable for the city. It's not going in our backyards.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it costs, but I mean,
Well, hey, at
Should
least you're
cost
doing
more.
some brainstorming.
If it's the wishes of the council, are we still able to make these changes?
Well, that's a county ditch too, though. That's a county ditch.
That's
authority,
right.
So that's gonna,
I mean, I'm gonna have
there's
to look
permits,
into
the
it.
county's gotta get involved in that, any crossings have to be approved by the county, but.
The crossings are already approved, the way the past happened, so.
Yeah, but you'll have one down further, they'll have to make
Yeah,
it.
there's one down here farther that has to be attached to the other one on this side. So there's already a bridge in there.
Oh,
So there's one,
I didn't see the original plan,
Yeah.
so I don't know
I
what's.
mean, you guys, you know what?
We can get them to you, John.
So-
Yeah, these, I just, yeah.
Just another suggestion, I feel it's a good one, it won't cost much, just your regular city day labor. I mean, it'd probably take a day or 2 or 3 days maybe to backfill and dig a new one.
Very creative, Dylan.
I don't know
Very
my
creative.
backyard. So, thanks, I hope you guys really think about this one, and talk about it amongst each other, I hope,
Mhm.
to not have it in our backyards. So, thank you.
Thanks, Dylan.
Yep.
Thanks.
I'm gonna go. Melissa Kopacek, 701 North Market Street. Since you won't let me finish a thought in my spot, I'll
It isn't
use
that I want you to
public
finish, I'm not
forum
gonna
to
stand here
finish
for an
speaking.
argument.
Am I allowed to speak during my time?
Yes.
Okay, I'll start over. Since I wasn't really able to finish my thought in my council seat, but every other man on the council was, I'll speak here. I'm gonna urge council members to delay this, actually add it on the agenda. It's gonna be in the record now that I've requested to add it to the agenda that we discuss alternative options. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public forum? Okay, moving on. Notice and communications.
oh, just a minute. Okay, notice and communications. Chief Allman is here tonight for the fourth quarter 2021 report. It's in your packet. Do you have any questions for Dave, or?
Thanks again for putting this together. It's really nice.
If there's anything else you'd like to see in the quarterly reports, just have to, let me know.
Narcotics, is that increased from the last time?
It is-
That's like a lot.
it is
Because of COVID, you think? Think it's related at all or not?
quite possibly.
Wait, we're in year 2 of pandemic.
I'm sorry?
We're in year 2 of the pandemic, so to see the increase,
There's still a lot of aftermath going on
No.
because of COVID. It's not just that the cases are declining, things of that nature. There's a lot of dynamics that are going on, you know, with people on unemployment.
Right.
that sort of thing.
yeah.
There's a lot of dynamics that are still
Pushing it, yeah.
No.
Wow. That kinda shook me a little bit.
All right, thank you, Dave.
Council reports.
The park department, or the park board had a meeting here at 5:30, and we've been discussing a lot of the different options for the North Park. We came up with a bunch of ideas for that park, for other parks in the area. We've got a pretty good schedule as to when we're gonna discuss them during the year. The family that donated the property over for the park in the Northwoods Addition would like to name that park after the individual, and it would be Gene Elke. I am asking the council to permit the park board to move forward with that idea of naming it either Gene Elke Memorial Park or the Gene Elke Park, whatever the family decides that they want to call it. And I'm asking the council to approve that, and I'm making that motion.
I believe that was actually kinda in the agreement when we got the property
Oh,
from
it's
them.
never been stated to us until tonight.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was in the motion, I honestly can't, but you can
I'll
do it again.
second your motion,
Sure.
Joe.
Okay.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay. Do we have any other council reports? EDA did not meet last month, scheduling conflict with the auditors and stuff, so. Next-
First month.
2 weeks, yeah, the next meeting,
Right.
or prior to the next meeting.
Nothing on the golf course, but it'll be coming since the
Yep.
season's ready to be starting here.
Okay. Administrator report?
All right, attached in your packet is a cash balance report dated last Thursday, actually, February 24th. I had in here that the park board met earlier tonight, as Councilmember Mulcahy was just saying, so I don't really have to repeat what you just said. Last, 2 Fridays ago, February 18th, we opened bids for the 2022 project. 6 bids came in. The low apparent bidder is WW Blacktopping. The council will approve those bids during a March city council meeting. We're finalizing the numbers right now. We're still going through all 6 of the bids. So, happy though to announce that it was about 7% under the engineer's estimate, so we like that.
Any idea why?
We bid early and, I don't know,
Much
it's
work
just...
out there right now.
Aggressive bid?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good for us.
So that's good.
We get some more money rolling in the state here, and some road and bridge projects, then it'll probably get up there.
Yeah.
That's probably a good time to get the bids out there, that's for sure.
That's gonna enable us to move forward with what we're planning pretty easily then.
And that 7% is Allen Street and East Street, correct?
Yes,
All the-
everything totaled together.
Okay. I didn't
Yep.
know if it was all separated or...
The bids are separated, but
We totaled
that
them for this.
total is,
Gotcha.
yeah, yep.
How big is that project?
2.1.
2.1 million. The only other item I have is the housing study. We had budgeted money in the 2022 budget to do a housing study. We have not done one in quite a few years. So Marley Rohr was able to get a couple estimates. They both came in higher than what we budgeted, so she reached out to Minnesota Housing Partnership, and they will be discussing with Marley probably in the next week or so about how they could either assist us with a housing study or possibly give us a different lead as far as getting a housing study done. So, appreciate Marley doing extra work on that.
Trying to get a little closer to what we budgeted at, basically.
That's all I have for administrator reports.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Department heads, I think Jacob's here for the golf course.
Jacob is here for the golf course, yeah.
Scott?
Scott is not in town right now. He's not here.
Didn't he help pick the schedule?
And Murray, the administrator at
Am I
Whispering
wrong?
Creek, is also here.
Yes. Which one he wants to go first? There we go.
All right.
Murray Finger, Administrator with Spring Creek, filling in for...
HRA.
Well, I'm the Administrator of Record. Pete Maddle has another commitment tonight, so I'm here to provide the Department Head report. I'm not sure what you're looking for, so I'll just kind of wing it. Basically, what I can say is right now, as the nursing home, we did make a small profit in January, which is really good. Nursing homes, as you know, has been struggling quite a bit financially. I think the biggest challenges has been staffing, like many different industries, of course. We've been trying to patch it together with temporary staffing, but every nursing home, hospitals probably have the same predicament as far as even finding temp staff. I think we've really tried to establish you know, where we need to be at to be profitable. And so we have our staff has a better understanding of that. It's easier said than done. Of course, as COVID starts to wind down, you know, our usual challenges come back into play, like survey compliance and all the expectations that go on with that. As far as COVID is concerned, I think, you know, it's all in the news. We've even talked about a little bit from the police report as far as availability of staff and the type of staff we can get, because they have to pass background checks and so on. So we've had lengthy conversations, you know, on that. The legislators are, you know, firing up right now, and of course we're in on that as well as far as permanent funding. So that's a kind of a big deal for us. It always has been, quite honestly. So as far as COVID's concerned, I mean, things are ratcheting down. We were probably the first ones to have masks, and I would imagine we'll probably have to be one of the last ones to be not wearing masks. So we're kind of conditioned to that. We are really trying to focus on, I know at this facility, even though there's an expectation as far as who needs to be tested, as far as the COVID testing, we try to kind of do more than that in our facility. So even though there's unvaccinated staff, there is an expectation that all staff are to be tested. So I think that was kind of a proactive approach, and that's not necessarily the case in every facility.
Is your testing based on like the county numbers, or is it just a mandatory weekly, bi-weekly?
A little bit of both. You know, we're monitoring the positivity rates. You know, there's criteria strictly in place, and that's a moving target. You know, every week it's something different.
Yep.
But our baseline that we're just choosing to do is just to kind of do a little bit more than that at this particular facility.
Staffing seems to be the biggest predicament in all healthcare industries right now, like the biggest thing. The state of Minnesota did issue a grant opportunity through DHS. Were you guys able to qualify for that? Sometimes our size doesn't always allow us to qualify for those.
You know, I can't specifically comment on that, but I certainly make a note of the question for Pete. You know, Pete, he's transitioning more into the financial side, and I'm more on the operations side.
If you need help on that, just reach out to me, because I worked specifically with that for a while. So I'd be more than willing to help with that.
All right.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks.
Yeah. Now you're thinking you should have went first, huh?
I don't have a whole lot to say. Just kind of getting back in gear, getting in the shop, getting the equipment ready to go, ordering product. I was a little bit nervous there for a while about the chemical order. You know, if I could get my hands on everything, it looks like I'll be able to figure something out. So I'm a little comforted by that.
What was the possible delay?
Just like fertilizer specifically is difficult to get your hands on and expensive.
Gotcha.
But it looks like, yeah, just working with my sales rep, we'll figure something out. So.
Okay.
You know, other than that, just discussing a few projects with Scott a little bit. Finishing up a couple from last year, and you know, nothing major planned, just little odds and ends. You know, this year we'll plan on focusing on some of the irrigation repairs. I've been working on that for years, and you know, hopefully I'll get to the end of that. I think I'm nearing it, but it's an ongoing issue, of course. But yeah, other than that, nothing really new. Looking forward to getting back out there, and yeah, that's it.
Thank
New patio looks great.
What's that?
New patio looks great.
Yes, it does.
Thanks, Jacob.
Yep.
Under old business number 1, we got a visit from Gerald Schendel Sr., who is here. Sure.
Honorable Mayor, City Council.
416 West Allen. I'm requesting, that the sidewalk in front of my property be moved off of my property because I've got, rose bush and also a magnolia tree. The tree is peg planted at, about 2012, and it's just doing just fine now. But it's on my personal property, and if you follow through with the sidewalk where it goes, it's gonna wipe it out. Or else I'll have a sidewalk within about 15 feet of my front door. So I'm just requesting that that we move the sidewalk to the curb, and that would eliminate that problem exactly. And I spoke with a few council people in this past week. All but two replied, and of course you folks are kind of busy. But you other folks know kind of what I have in mind, and I would also like at the same time to include in that a 40-foot wide apron on the right where my business is at, so I can continue with off-street parking when they come and pick up parts.
Is there an apron going in on those driveways? Yes. Yep. So if we did that, then he'd pay for the additional apron and cost, if we were to widen it up a little bit more.
Wider than what, we're just matching the width of the driveways right now, so.
What's there? Yes,
Correct.
yeah. But as far as the curb expense goes, that'd be a wash, whether it's a drive-over curb, if you decide to widen it versus the 6-inch curb, correct?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
That would be any additional apron,
Right.
would be additional.
That's what I mentioned to him when I talked to him. I said there'd be a cost for the apron.
Yeah.
If we were to do that, and, yeah. Then he was asking about a drive-over curb by the sidewalk, and I said, no, that probably ain't gonna fly, because that's not in our street city code or whatever, and.
High back curb.
Yes.
These are urban residential areas.
Yeah.
City standard.
But as far as the sidewalk, personally, I have no problem about moving it over, if
Would it just be the one spot? Or would it
180
be
feet.
Along your entire property?
just your property, so the sidewalk would be here, come out, around yours, and then back? Or would we be designing it as one straight one across?
Well, I see
You know what I
there-
mean?
oops, sorry. I see there was a note in there, something about the utility boxes or something up there, and I noted that to Gerald, that would have to be driven back before
Right.
it went through the utility, so that it was behind that, so it'd have to hang off his driveway. And I haven't seen the plans, this is the first I saw of it.
Well,
But, I looked at it,
I don't personally, if that's what you would want, that'd be fine. My only qualm would be if it would be everybody else's sidewalk pushed out to the edge as well. I was literally just talking about how I have that in front of where I live, and how it's a pain when it comes to...
Snow removal.
It is the worst, because that is where the heaviest snow gets piled. While it doesn't bother some,
he's got a big tractor.
oh, well then, okay.
You gotta have an old 630 job.
Right, but the only thing, is, like, if it's just you, that's fine, but I would just want the rest of the block to be okay with it
Well, the
too.
main thing was, my main concern was because of the trees and having take them out. You can't replace them. You can't replace a life.
Right. They're hard to
These are
go.
memorials.
I think as long as it's just in front of his, or if the rest of this block is like okay with it, then I'd be...
Wait.
Jason.
I mean, we designed the sidewalk to go where it normally goes, right adjacent to the right of way, not adjacent to the curb. For some of the points that you have, as far as the snow removal. it's just not
Utilities.
the- if there's a very challenging situation, we'll move it to behind the curb. Typically, we have it right off the back of the right of way. Allowing utilities to be in between the sidewalk and the curb So I guess I would definitely not anticipate doing the sidewalk the entire length. You know, if the council wants to grant this instance to move that, you know, it has challenges with ADA, right? When we have driveways, we have curb right there, we're not going to be ADA compliant through his driveways. It's just not possible.
Right.
So there's challenges with that, but again, there's circumstances that the councils direct us, we will react. But that's kind of where I'm at with this.
On October 6th, I had city administrator Clinton Rogers and Jason Ferme.
Yep.
And they assured me that those two would not be disturbed.
So,
And then we had the last meeting, and he had it as being knocked off, and I asked both the gentlemen again, and they said if the council approved it, it would be okay.
so the question for you tonight is what would you like with the sidewalk at Mr. Shendel's property?
So would the bushes be disturbed with it designed as is?
It would, yes, it would be as is.
Yeah, they're currently within
As
the right
planned.
of way. They're not on private property, they're within the right of way. Just like any other ones, if there's items within the right of way that are,
Part of the
homeowner wants, they have to move those on their own accord, or they could get impacted.
Right.
The magnolia tree is 6 feet, or about 2.5 feet from the property line in my property. But if you put the sidewalk through, it's gonna wipe it out. So all I'm asking for is, can you just put it, Mr. Arnold was come out and look at it. And, John Springer looked at it, and they know what I'm talking about.
Can it come across his driveway to meet, handicap code, and then still be enough room to make the curve? Bring it out, and then drive it back in on his other driveway, and then go across, so it still remains handicap accessible, or the whatever you said, the...
ADA?
Yeah, the ADA, compliant.
We'd have to look at that, and we'd be prepared to make that, without actually getting into the design and looking at it. On how we would actually reroute it to make it...
Right,
Yep.
this is for, I didn't even see the old plans, and I just was going by this drawing.
Yep, which is the plan, I just took snippets of the plan, that's what you have in there, I provided that to Clinton when this topic came up, so that we see what the conditions are, where the trees are, the rose bushes, in relationship to the curb.
Exactly, right, yeah, I got you.
You got about, the rose bush is roughly 6.5, 7 feet from about 6.5, 7 feet from where the curb should be. Approximately, from where you showed it. And then, when you folks were out there on the 6th, you said, yeah, they were safe.
We didn't know, we didn't know what the right way is, we need to do our work.
That's right.
But you made that statement to me that they should not be disturbed. So, okay, I looked into everything in here, and if you look under 95.040, subsection D, you'll notice that it says, basically speaking, memorials should be not disturbed if possible.
I know that Jason starts out most of his projects with saying if there's any trees or things, they do their very best not to disturb them. That's not always the case.
Well, they're still gonna take out three
Right.
cedar trees.
And that's the last thing they want, because that increases the budget, that ticks off the resident, you know what I mean? So it is, I think that there might have been confusion, like they were gonna do everything they could not to, and maybe after everything was done, they realized it's not a possibility. I hope that, I don't know,
I'll make a motion to move the sidewalk material. And if it seconds and carries, then it is, and whatever, but keep it rolling through here, so.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'm gonna oppose, but it has to be to ADA spec.
Yeah,
You know,
you'll have to make that work.
If we can get to that, that's a different story.
Okay, well, it's gonna have to be to that.
Would you
so-
rather have him go back and look to make sure it's possible and then make a decision on this?
Well, I just think that we need to see what all it's gonna entail, I think.
So would you want us to have him look at it, come back and revisit this?
Yeah, at this point, we have 3 yeses
Yeah.
anyways, so,
So it doesn't matter.
right. So we have 3, all opposed?
No, I'm just not gonna vote. I don't know
Abstain?
enough. I'll go with John's judgment. I
3,
just won't
1,
vote
1.
one way or the other.
There we
I'm not-
go.
I'm not sure which way's the best, so.
So you're abstaining from it?
I will.
Yep, 3, 1, 1.
I'm not smart enough to know this stuff.
Yep.
Thank you, Jerry.
Shane was gonna ask him out. That's what Peg said. She would've chained herself right to that tree.
Thank you, Jerry.
Street utility improvements.
Yes, Resolution 2022-10 calls for the assessment hearing for Monday, March 28th at 7 PM for this summer's project. I also want to point out that in your resolution, there's Exhibit A and Exhibit B. Exhibit A is the notice that will be sent to the newspaper, and Exhibit B is a copy of what property owners will receive for the notice. That's all I got.
Standard to what we've always done. So
Bingo.
I will make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Citywide cleanup estimates.
That's pretty good if that stays that way.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Still under, what you budget this year, 5,000 for it?
That's what it says. Looks
Yeah.
like we're gonna be way under, so.
It's 39.
Okay, so we budgeted $5,000 for this year, and we have, okay, so we have 2 options, curbside pickup, which the council had asked that we get numbers for, and then also the one-site drop site that we did last year. So you have the cost estimates based on 5 tons at $97 per ton. If we did the one location, it's $1,985. If we did curbside, it'd be $3,985. I honestly don't know if 5 ton is a safe predicted
Not very
number.
much.
Last year we had 7 or 11 or whatever it was, I can't remember, I told you.
How much last year?
Let me look here quick.
So if that's based on 5 ton, then that would be a double.
12. Last year was 12 ton,
12 ton?
and we hadn't done it in 3 years.
That's 3,900, that's almost $8,000.
Well, no, 'cause you're only doubling, you're taking the 485. The labor's gonna remain the same.
Yeah, you're right, the tonnage would be more, but the labor.
Right, so if we had 12 ton at 485, calculator quick.
If you're trying to figure curbside, you can't base it off of last year's, because that was a drop site, or
Exactly.
limit to tonnage
Yeah.
drop off.
Oh.
Right, so you put it on your curb, there's.
It could be it could be way over that.
Do we have a tonnage from the last time we did curbside?
Last time we did curbside was in 2018, and it cost $17,000.
Okay.
Yeah, that was.
2015,
Yeah.
it cost $12,000, so I think no matter what, if we do curbside, it's gonna be over 10.
And I think you're gonna get more
Minimum.
tonnage on curbside.
Oh, for
Well,
sure.
absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely will.
I
They don't have to bring it
surprised
up
you
here.
didn't have at least twice or more.
I say we go with the other, that'd be my suggestion, that wasn't in on the original.
The one-site location?
Yeah.
I make a motion that we continue with the dump site, and I know Jim brought up doing it curbside, and if we wanted to budget more money for next year, I would be all for that, to move it to, curbside following years to come, but.
Yeah, I think we'd have to look at stretching it out, and maybe if we're gonna do curbside, maybe we gotta do every 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
If we're gonna do a dump site, we can probably do it every year.
Every year at a dump site.
At a dump
versus-
site.
What I
or-
think to Jim's point, which we're forgetting, is that when we did the drop site yearly, it would equal what we did biannually with the curbside, which was why we had decided to go with the curbside. I agree, we should go with the drop site, but that was the reason why it was brought up, is because in the end, it was the same.
Yeah, it's quite a difference. I think I agree with you, Andy.
Mhm.
You motioned it?
Yeah.
I'd second your motion.
In favor of going with the drop site?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I don't think it was anybody. 5-0. New business. We have a vacancy on the HRA.
Yeah, so, maybe we can do both these agenda items together, 'cause they kinda go hand in hand. Your first resolution is gonna declare a vacancy, Sarah Van Hout, who is on the Park Road Plaza Board now. The HRA is looking to, leave the board, which means there's an opening that exists. The term expires December 31, 2023. So, resolution number 11 declares that vacancy, and then resolution number 12 fills a vacancy with Denny Garms, who is willing to serve especially through 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-11 and Resolution 2022-12.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Moves us right into number 3 then, since we did them two together.
Yeah, let me do, I'm running out of paper on my sheet of, resolution number 12 accepts a donation from the Janesville Rotary Club. It's a $2,500 donation, and we will put that into the,
13.
amphitheater.
13.
Yeah, 13, I just noticed that, yep. So Andy, that you're touching right there, that's the original that we have to give
Yep.
back to Rotary, so.
Yep. I'll make a motion to accept the Rotary's $2,500 donation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any other motions?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
At
Get Marvin moved in there yet?